The rain hit the city like a hammer. Wind howled between the tall buildings and dark clouds covered the sky. It was evening, but everything looked like night. Roads were full of water, cars moved slowly, and people rushed home, trying not to get soaked. Umbrellas turned inside out, shoes splashed through puddles. No one wanted to be outside, but Mr. Raymond was not like everyone else. He sat in his black luxury car, parked on the side of the road. The heater was on. His leather seat was warm. His expensive coat lay beside him untouched. The smell of fresh coffee filled the car. On the outside, the storm was wild, but inside his car, everything was quiet, safe, and perfect. Still, Raymond was not happy. He tapped his fingers on the steering wheel and stared at the traffic ahead. The line of cars wasn't moving. Headlights reflected on the wet road and windshield wipers danced left to right. Raymond sighed. "Great," he muttered. "Just what I needed, a storm and traffic." He picked up his phone, scrolled through his emails and frowned. More business problems, more people asking him for money, more deals to fix. Just then, a movement outside caught his eye. Across the street, near a broken bus stop sign, stood a young woman. She had no umbrella. Her clothes were soaked. Her long hair stuck to her face. She stood still, holding something. In her arms, two small babies. Both babies were wrapped in thin blankets, but they were crying loudly. Their little hands reached out, shaking from the cold. The woman tried to calm them, rocking them slowly, whispering something, but the storm was too loud. No one could hear her. Rain poured over her like she wasn't even there. People walked past her without looking. A man with a briefcase ran by. A woman with shopping bags crossed the road. No one stopped. No one even turned their head. Raymond frowned. He looked at the woman again. Why is she standing there in this storm? Why doesn't she go inside somewhere? Where is she going with two crying babies? He shook his head and looked away. "Not my business," he whispered, but something didn't feel right. He turned his head again. She was still there, not moving, just standing like a statue, clutching. The babies tighter. One baby let out a loud cry, and the woman's shoulders dropped as if she didn't have any strength left. Raymond sipped his coffee, but the taste was bitter now. His heart started to beat a little faster. He didn't like this feeling. It reminded him of something long ago, something painful. He tried to push the thought away. Maybe she's waiting for someone, he told himself. Maybe help is on the way. But deep down, he knew the truth. No one was coming. Just then, a man knocked on his car window. It was a stranger in a raincoat. His face was wet, his beard dripping with water. "Sir," the man shouted through the glass. "Can you help that lady? She's been standing there for almost an hour. I tried to offer help, but she refused to come with me. I think she's scared." Raymond rolled down the window just a little. "She said no?" he asked. "Yes," the man replied. "But she looks weak. The babies are crying nonstop. Please. I think she needs real help." Raymond stared at the woman again. The man walked, off blending back into the rain. Raymond sat still. He could drive away. He didn't know her. He didn't owe her anything. He had meetings to attend, people to call. He wasn't some hero. He looked at the clock. Then he looked at her once more. Suddenly he saw something. One of the babies dropped its blanket. The small face turned toward the sky, mouth wide open in a cry, rain falling straight onto its skin. The woman quickly tried to cover the baby, but her hands were shaking badly. Raymond felt something sharp in his chest. That baby could be freezing. That woman could faint at any moment, and still, people passed her like she was invisible. He placed his coffee cup in the holder and reached for his coat. Just as his hand touched the door handle. Knock. Knock. He froze. A soft knock on the window beside him. But not from the stranger. It was... The woman stood outside his car window now. Her face was pale. Her lips trembled. One baby clung to her shoulder. The other was nearly silent now. She didn't say a word. She just looked at him with tired, begging eyes. And Raymond, the rich man, the cold businessman, the man who thought he had no heart left, suddenly couldn't move. The storm was loud, but for a moment the only thing he heard was the sound of those babies crying. Rain poured down harder. Thunder rolled across the sky. Mr. Raymond sat frozen in his car seat, staring at the woman standing just outside his window. She didn't speak. She didn't smile. She just looked at him, tired and broken, with those two babies shaking in her arms. One baby had stopped crying, not because it was calm, but because it had no strength left. Raymond's chest felt tight. He slowly rolled down the window, letting the cold wind and rain rush in. "Do you need help?" he asked, trying to sound calm. The woman nodded slowly. "My babies," she whispered. Her voice was weak, almost lost in the storm. "They're cold. I didn't know where else to go." Raymond looked around. Still, no one had stopped. No one cared. "Get in," he said quickly, unlocking the doors. The woman opened the back door with one hand, holding both babies close to her chest. She slid in, shivering. The babies whimpered softly as she closed the door behind her. Raymond turned up the heat and grabbed a dry towel from his gym bag. He handed it to her. "Here, dry them," he said. "Thank you," she said, her eyes filling with tears. "I'm sorry to bother you. I didn't know what else to do." Raymond glanced at her through the mirror. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lena," she answered. "Lena Morris." "And the babies?" "Isaiah and Hope," she said softly. "They're just 6 months old." Raymond nodded. His hands tightened on the steering wheel. He wanted to ask more. He wanted to know why she was out there, why she was alone, why she didn't have help. But he could see it, pain all over her face. He didn't want to push. "I'll take you somewhere safe," he said. Lena nodded, too tired to speak. Raymond turned on the GPS, but then paused. Where could he even take her? A shelter? A hospital? A motel? He looked at the babies again. Their tiny fingers were red from cold. They needed warmth. They needed dry clothes and food. Without thinking, he made a U-turn and drove toward his house. Lena's eyes widened. "Where are we going?" "To my home," he said. Her voice shook. "Why? Are you helping me?" Raymond didn't know how to answer. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was a memory he didn't want to face. Maybe it was just the right thing to do. "I couldn't leave you there," he said quietly. Lena looked down, hugging her babies tighter. For a while, they drove in silence. Then Raymond spoke again. "You were standing in the storm for a long time. Why?" Lena didn't answer at first, but then, in a soft voice, she said, "I was running." Raymond glanced at her through the mirror. Running from what? She looked out the window, her eyes empty. "From someone who was supposed to protect us." Raymond's stomach turned. He didn't ask more, not yet. He knew that look in her eyes. He had seen it before, long ago, in someone else. Someone he had failed. The car moved through quiet streets now, leaving the city behind. Trees swayed in the wind. Streetlights flickered. The storm was slowly starting to calm. But inside the car, a different kind of storm was just beginning. Raymond, parked in front of a tall, modern house with a steel gate. He pressed a button. The gate opened slowly and he drove through. Lena stared out the window. "This is your house?" He nodded. "You and your babies will be safe here tonight." As they entered, warm air filled the car garage. Raymond stepped out first, grabbed an umbrella, and opened the back door for Lena. She stepped out slowly, still shaking. He led her into the house. Soft lights glowed inside. The floors were clean. Everything smelled like fresh linen and wood. Polish. Lena looked around with wide eyes. Raymond guided her to the living room and handed her a thick blanket from the couch. "Wrap the babies. I'll make something warm." As she sat down, Lena looked at him and whispered, "Thank you, Mr. Raymond," he said. Just Raymond. She smiled for the first time. A small, tired smile. But inside Raymond's heart, something heavy. Moved. Who was she running from? What had happened to her and why? Did this all feel strangely personal? As he walked into the kitchen, he knew one thing for sure. This woman wasn't just passing through his life. Something big was about to happen, and everything he thought he knew was about to change. Raymond walked into the kitchen trying to calm his thoughts. He didn't know this woman, but something about her eyes, the way she held her babies like shields, had touched something deep in him. He opened a cabinet and took out a pack of noodles. It wasn't fancy, but it was quick and warm. Maybe the comfort she needed. As the pot boiled, he looked toward the living room. Lena was curled on the sofa, holding both babies, wrapped in the blanket. Her eyes were closed, but she wasn't asleep. She was listening, watching, waiting. Raymond carried the bowls back to her. She hesitated but took the warm food. She helped Hope take little spoonfuls while gently rocking Isaiah, who was finally fast. Sleep. Raymond sat on the armchair nearby, watching her. "You said you were running," he said softly. "Was someone chasing you?" Lena looked down. She didn't answer right away. Then, her lips trembled. Her hands shook. She looked straight at him. "My husband," she said quietly. Raymond walked into the kitchen, trying to calm his thoughts. He didn't know this woman, but something about her eyes, the way she held her babies like shields, had touched something deep in him. He opened a cabinet and took out a pack of noodles. It wasn't fancy, but it was quick and warm. Maybe the comfort she needed. As the pot boiled, he looked toward the living room. Lena was curled on the sofa, holding both babies, wrapped in the blanket. Her eyes were closed, but she wasn't asleep. She was listening, watching, waiting. Raymond carried the bowls back to her. She hesitated but took the warm food. She helped Hope take little spoonfuls while gently rocking Isaiah, who was finally fast. Asleep, Raymond sat on the armchair nearby, watching her. "You said you were running," he said softly. "Was someone chasing you?" Lena looked down. She didn't answer right away. Then, her lips trembled. Her hands shook. She looked straight at him. "My husband," she said quietly. Raymond's hands turned cold as he stared at the gate monitor. The man outside looked angry. His voice came through the intercom again, louder this time. "I said open the gate. She stole my kids." Raymond turned to Lena. She was shaking. She held her babies close, her eyes full of fear. She didn't say anything, but her face said it all. That man was her husband. Raymond stepped toward the panel, pressed a button, and spoke calmly. "You need to leave. This is private property." There was silence for a moment, then a bitter laugh. "I don't care who you are. You're hiding my wife. And my children. That's a crime." Raymond didn't flinch. "I saw them in the street, cold, crying. She said you were hurting them. That's the real crime." The man's voice changed. It got colder. "You don't know who I am. I'll call the police. I'll ruin you." Raymond ended the call. The screen went black. He turned back to Lena. She was crying quietly. "He always finds me," she whispered. "He tracks my phone. He has friends everywhere. I should have kept running." Raymond shook his head. "No, you don't have to run anymore." He picked up his phone and dialed a number. Lena watched him, confused. "Who are you calling?" she asked. Raymond replied, "A friend. He used to be a lawyer. Now he helps women like you." Within minutes, Raymond's friend answered. Raymond explained everything, how he found Lena in the storm, what she had said, and who was at the gate now. The voice on the other side said, "Don't let him in. I'll come with the documents. And bring a police officer too. But you need to stall him. Give me 20 minutes. Raymond hung up and looked at Lena. "Help is coming. Just stay calm." Lena sat down again, rocking her babies. Outside, the man started banging on the gate. "Lena, if you don't come out, I'll break it down." Raymond walked outside, staying inside the gate, holding a flashlight. He stared the man down. "You need to leave. Now." The man stepped closer to the gate, smirking. "You're rich, huh? Think your money can protect her? I'll take her to court. I'll get those kids back." Raymond's voice was firm. She told me what you did. The fear. Her eyes told me the rest. You won't lay a finger on those children. Suddenly, flashing red and blue lights appeared in the distance. A police car pulled up behind the man. Another car parked beside it. Raymond smiled slightly. His friend had arrived. With the law. Lena peeked out the window, holding her breath. The officer stepped out and called, "Sir, step away from the gate. We need to talk." The man turned around, angry. "I want my family back." Raymond's lawyer friend stepped forward and handed a paper to the officer. "This is a witness statement, and here are photos of bruises she sent to a shelter months ago. He has a history. There's a case already started." The officer narrowed his eyes at the man. "We'll need you to come with us for questioning." The man started shouting, but two officers grabbed his arms and led him to the car. Raymond walked back inside. Lena was still sitting there, frozen. "They're taking him," he said softly. Lena dropped her face into her hands and cried, not in fear this time, but in relief. She hugged her babies tightly. Raymond sat beside her. "You're safe now, I promise." She looked up at him and asked the one question that had been stuck in her heart. "Why are you helping me so much?" Raymond looked at her and said quietly, "Because someone once helped me when no one else would." 3 days had passed. The storm was over, but Lena's life still felt cloudy inside. She stayed in Raymond's guest room with her twins. Every morning Raymond brought breakfast. He never asked for thanks. He never made her feel like a burden. But Lena, she didn't feel at peace yet. Even though her husband had been taken for questioning, she knew he would try to come back. He always did. That fear still followed her like a shadow. Raymond noticed. He gave her space, but quietly, he was working. Behind the scenes, he met with his lawyer friend. He made calls to women's shelters. He spoke with a judge. He even hired a private security guard to watch the house at night. Raymond had seen wealth used for evil. Now he was using his wealth to protect. One afternoon, Lena stepped out into the backyard. It was quiet. The sun finally shone after days of rain. Hope and Isaiah were playing on a soft blanket on the grass. For the first time, they were smiling. Lena smiled too, just a little. That's when Raymond walked out holding an envelope. He looked serious. "This came in the mail," he said. "It's addressed to you." Lena frowned. "Here, no one knows I'm staying here." Raymond nodded. "That's what worries me." She opened the letter with trembling hands. As she read the first few lines, her eyes widened, her lips moved, silently. Then she gasped. Raymond stepped closer. "What is it?" Lena looked up. "It's not from my husband. It's from his mother." Raymond blinked. "His mother?" Lena nodded slowly. "She says she's sorry. For everything." She kept reading aloud. "I never believed you. I thought you were trying to take my son's children away, but I found out the truth. He has a history of anger, even as a child. I saw the police report. I saw the bruises. I was wrong. If you need help, I'll stand with you in court. My door is open." Lena sat down, shocked. Raymond was silent. This changed everything. She had spent years alone, no one believing her. Now, the mother of the man who hurt her was offering help? Lena looked up. "Do you think I should trust her?" she asked. Raymond thought for a moment. "Not with your heart," he said gently. "Not yet, but maybe with the truth. Maybe she can help make sure he never hurts you or your babies again." Lena nodded slowly. She folded the letter and held it tightly in her hand. "I'm tired of running," she whispered. Raymond gave a small smile. "Then maybe it's time to stand up." At that moment, the security guard came walking over. "Sir," he said to Raymond, "someone's asking for you at the front gate." Raymond frowned. "Who?" "He says he's your brother." Raymond's expression changed. His eyes darkened just slightly. Lena noticed. "You never mentioned you had a brother," she said. Raymond looked at her. "That's because he's the reason I ran away from home when I was 15. Lena's eyes widened. What does he want now? She asked. Raymond stared toward the house. I guess we're about to find out. Raymond walked slowly to the front gate. His heart was heavy. His hands were tight. Standing on the other side of the gate was a man he hadn't seen in 20 years. Same eyes, same sharp jaw. But the man was older now, thinner, tired. It was his brother, David. Raymond didn't smile. He didn't open the gate. What do you want? Raymond asked firmly. David looked nervous. I heard what happened, he said. About the woman. And the kids, and the man taken by police. I read about it. Raymond's eyes narrowed. So, David looked down, then back up. It reminded me of Mom, of how we never helped her, of how we let Dad destroy her. Raymond froze. No one ever spoke about that. David kept going. You left. I stayed. But I was scared too, just like you. I thought maybe I could make things right now. Somehow. Raymond sighed and opened the gate just a little. Why now, David? Why after all these years? David stepped forward. His voice shook. Because I've been broken too long. And maybe helping someone else is how I start healing. Raymond stared at him for a long time. Then, slowly, he opened the gate. Come in. Inside the house, Lena sat quietly with the twins. She could feel something had changed. Raymond entered with David. Lena stood up quickly, worried. It's okay, Raymond said. This is my brother. He's trying to help. David gave a soft nod. I'm sorry for what you went through, he said gently. No mother should ever feel unsafe. I wish someone had helped our mom when we were kids. Lena's eyes softened. She saw pain in both men's faces. Two broken brothers, both trying to fix something. Over the next few days, David helped Raymond prepare documents for court. He drove Lena to her lawyer's office. He played with the twins in the backyard, making them laugh. And slowly, Lena smiled more. She cooked a meal one night. Raymond helped her. They laughed in the kitchen. The house felt like a home. Weeks. Later, Lena stood in front of a judge, strong, confident, and no longer afraid. Her husband lost custody. A restraining order was put in place. The case was closed. That night, Lena sat in the living room with Raymond and David. The babies were asleep. The storm was over, in the sky and in her heart. She looked at Raymond. You changed my life. Raymond smiled. You changed mine too. Lena held out her hand. Let's not be strangers anymore. He took it. And just like that, two people who were once strangers in the storm became something more. Not by blood, not by money, but by hope and heart.